and their user ID would then equal 2. Now in this case we could then force this to be 2, so just sort of recreating a login system but doing it within one line. Now if we were to go back and refresh, and I was to type in Billy Garrett and click save, settings have been updated. You saw the loading, you should have seen the loading text come up a bit, just slightly then, so you could see that. This is obviously just depending on the service, how it's running. If I click browse now, you can see that Billy Garrett has been changed to Billy has been changed to Billy Garrett. So obviously this variable here is dependent on the user that's currently logged in, the system that you have in place on your site. However, you can now start to see how effective this is with updating values depending on which user has logged in. Now if you wanted to go ahead and say create a few of these fields, I'm just going to go ahead and show you how easy this would be. So we have name, and then want to copy this and paste it down here, and I'm going to go ahead and type in let's say email. Now we won't again create any validation, we'll just go ahead and update this value. So we've got this email value here, or this email field here. Let's go ahead and press enter. You can see we've now got name and email. Now I'm going to go ahead and update my database table accordingly. I'm going to add a new field on the end called email. The type we can set as 255 as a variable character. We now have an email field on. So at the moment Alex G and Billy Garrett don't have an email. Now we're currently logged in as Billy in quotation marks because we're not actually logged in. So we're logged in as Billy Garrett currently. We've set this to 2. So now we can go ahead and make the appropriate changes elsewhere to update these values as well. So let's say you've added this email input field in here. Over in ajax.js, all you'd need to do is go ahead and create a new variable here, grabbing the email as well as the name. So var email is now equal to email.val. Remember, we renamed this here email as opposed to name. What we'd then do is we would pass the email value as well as name. So we would create a comma here, and email. So we're sending another variable called email. We're sending two variables, name and email. The value of name is name from here, and the value of email is email from here. So now that we've done that, we've successfully updated ajax.js. We come over to settings.php, and we need to also check if the email field or post data is set. So we create a comma because the is set in is set function in PHP takes multiple values. So if the name and email are set, we can go ahead and again copy and paste this down, and email here. So it's literally a matter of just duplicating for each field. Now we need to go ahead and update our query. So we can go ahead and update users, set name equals name. We've done that. Now we also want to update where set email equals email. So now we have updated our users table. We've set the name is equal to the name we've specified, and the email is equal to the email we've specified, where user ID blah blah blah, like we've already discussed. So now what's going to happen is we can not only update one at a time, but update multiple fields at a time. So at the moment we're logged in as Billy Garrett, and we're logged in as the user ID 2. So the name is Billy Garrett and the email is nothing. Let's go ahead and test this out. I'm going to put the name as Billy, and I'm going to set the email as billy@phpacademy.org. When I click save, settings have been updated. So the query it successfully ran here. This query ran successfully. When we browse again, you can see that the email has been updated and the name's changed back to Billy. So now I'm going to log back in as Alex, log back in again in quotation marks because we're not actually logged in. I'm going to change the user ID to 1, and I'm going to set the name to Alex and the email address accordingly. So we change this here back to 1, assuming we've now logged in as a different person. Alex and alex@phpacademy.org. Click save. You saw the little loading text. Now you've seen settings have been updated. Back to the database table, and you can see that the name and email now correspond to the two values that we put into these fields here. So using this system is extremely easy and quick, and it's also easy to change or update for the fields that you want to, add into the initial form here. So you can add as many fields as you like with as much data. Clicking save will show your loading button, and then will tell you if your settings have been updated or not. Just one quick thing before we leave. If I was to, for example, try and mess up this query, so I'll just put updte instead of update. When we now go ahead to try and save, it says there was an error updating your settings. So we are, we're receiving this error message appropriately because our query has failed. So that's updating database table values based on a form using jQuery.